afternoon. It's Thursday afternoon, Maundy Thursday, and we're heading into Easter weekend. And of course, today is the last day of my Sustainable-ish Lent challenge. So, just sort of something else I want to mention. I just made some notes. I haven't filmed much in the way of activities today because I just wanted to have a quick general chat and wrap things up, really. I started this way back, and I didn't check the date, and I should have done, but way back on Ash Wednesday back in February. And I said I was going to do a Sustainable-ish Lent based on the book of the same name, or Sustainable-ish Living by Jen Gale, that I had been listening to on audiobook. And so my project, my challenge was to not spend any money on anything new for the next 40 days. So it wasn't about spending money, it was about examining my consumer life, my consumption, and my choices that I made. And I based mine also on looking at the hierarchy of needs illustrated by Sarah Lazarovich, which, if you want, I'll give you a quick peek, if you want clarification, it was that. So it was a play on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and this was a hierarchy of needs. So we have buy, make, thrift, swap, borrow, use what you have. And I have, as much as possible, endeavoured to use what I have. I have borrowed. I've been given stuff. Swapped. I don't think I've swapped. I have swapped. Haven't really thrifted. Don't think I've bought anything from a thrift store. Make stuff, yeah, and buy, no. Now, I gave myself the 5 get out of jail free cards for this period, and I have used 5. I used 1, which was probably the weakest one. It was my mum's birthday, and I gave her a gift card. My dad's birthday didn't count because I bought him a big selection of secondhand books, so that was okay. I've bought 2 lots of yarn, more in the latter half of Lent actually. So I bought the little self-striping yarn from Debbie down Sheepy Lane, and I bought the floof, the undyed alpaca Suri alpaca silk for my Paloma sweater. So that's 3 things. I bought a new inner pot for my Instant Pot. If you remember, I was trying to make yogurt, and my current Instant Pot sort of smell of chili. And again, I've said this already, I haven't actually used that pot yet because it turns out it was the plastic rings, and as much as I've tried to de-smell them, it hasn't worked. So if I'm gonna make yogurt, I'm gonna have to buy some new plastic silicone rings, but you know, we'll wait and see. And also I bought last week, when I started my Paloma, I needed a new set of needles, so I ordered some Chalgu twists from Tribe Yarns, which actually they're not here yet, but so that's my 5 get out of jail free cards. So I stuck to what I had planned. I also set about endeavouring to raise some money for the special needs school that my lovely friend Gayna, who is Tales from Cuckoo Land, her son Bill attends, and she supports both practically and financially, always fundraising for Bill's school, which is in the southwest of the country. And so I started a money pool on PayPal, and I just invited people to donate £1 if they felt they could towards Bill's school, and to kind of sponsor me or to make me accountable for my 40 days sustainable-ish living. your response to that has been fantastic. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I know Gayna is blown away as well. So we have raised £319. I feel like there should be a... It's just brilliant, and that's way more than £1 per person. And you know that by looking at the views of the podcast, of the vlog. Some of you, well, you've all been super generous and super supportive, and all the messages that you wrote and sent me with the donations as well have been so lovely to read. And I wasn't able to get back to each and every one of you individually, but I would say a huge thank you. But £319, so that can go towards, they're trying to raise money for a new minibus, or it can go towards some sports equipment or some computer games, whatever. But that money will go over to Gayna this weekend, and she will then put it straight into the school account, and that will be from us. So thank you very much for that. So it's all good. Then briefly, what have I learned? Have I learned much? Well, I've learned actually that I can go without spending money or buying new stuff. I know it was arguably only for a period of 6 weeks, and the 5 get out of jail free cards I had were kind of not desperately urgent. Mum's birthday, yes, that was different. Yarn, maybe. The Instant Pot. And there's nothing else really. I'm not a great clothes buyer anyway, so I haven't missed buying clothes. Oh, and of course, the elephant in the room. We had the onset of the coronavirus, which changed everything anyway. So in fact, the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks of the vlog, I've become more and more about knitting and crafting than I had ever intended, because obviously I haven't been able to go out and give you stories of my adventures. So wow, it's been, what a ride. What a 6 weeks. Obviously it was 44 days because, as I said, I didn't realise that some days of Lent are excluded from the 40 days of Lent. So we had 44 days. But yeah, it's been quite amazing. I think I'm gonna... Here comes Henry, obviously. As you can hear his foot. Hello. Couldn't leave him off the last episode, could I? So yeah, what was I saying? This is so waffly. This is why I didn't film anything else today. What did we look at? We looked at recycling. I spent a lot of time looking at recycling. I looked into the plastic recycling and the codes that you get, the recycling codes on products. And actually I've realised that all the things I thought could be recycled, that I was merrily throwing in the recycling bin, actually aren't currently recyclable easily. I didn't realise that our local council don't recycle everything we put in our recycling bins. So that was real food for thought, if you'll pardon the pun. I've cut down vastly on our use of plastic. So think twice before we use any kind of single-use plastic as well. Buying second-hand, certainly looking at books again, books, DVDs, all those kind of fast-moving consumables. I'm more than happy to buy second-hand now. Would go to a second-hand shop first to look for those. I planted all my seeds, which ironically, isn't it, because we're all planting seeds now, but I had obviously got those going to get some salad crops growing at home. And I have been very conscious about being much more prudent with our use of water and wasting water. So now I think I mentioned about when I empty the kettle to these, each time you fill it up for a fresh boil, I keep the water and I then use that either for my plants or for the dogs, drinking water, and running dishwater and so on. I pay much more attention to that. Tea, That was my big thing, wasn't it? We have now moved over to loose leaf tea. Occasionally I use a tea bag, but for the most part we use loose leaf tea in the teapot that Hannah bought me last week, which is fantastic. Really recommend that, the Bodum tea infuser thing. And if I just make a single pot, then I use the reusable little tea bags that Jane made and sent to me. So many things, and no doubt things will come to mind that I've forgotten that I'll be kicking myself over. But that's all I can think about right now, I think. I've been making my quilts in terms of crafting. I didn't buy any more fabric for my half square triangle quilt, and I will continue to try and finish that with the scraps that I've got. In fact, I made a whole load more half square triangles today. So it's my Liberty print I've had in my little stash, and that was the one that I'd had already bought. Then these next ones, this really gorgeous pink one, that's more Liberty. This polka dot pink there. Oh, is that going to be, there was another one. I haven't made it up yet, so forgive me for that at the moment. These, among some others that I haven't cut yet, were sent to me a little while ago by Amy, little Tailoress Studio Amy. She sent me some yarn and she sent me some of her leftovers, so they are now going into my half square triangle quilt. Thanks, Amy. Knitting, you know pretty much what I've been up to. The only different thing was I cast on last night. I did the provisional cast on for my moonweight cowl, and I spoke to Gemma last night, and apparently you weren't supposed to start till today, but I only did the provisional cast on, and I've just done that much today. Can you see there's a lime green in there? So that's going to be really great. I will endeavour to do a podcast next week, which I'll talk about in a moment, and hopefully there'll be some more to show you on there. I won't go into all the other knitting stuff. I will keep those to show you next week when I've got a bit more progress on them. And I think that's probably about it, really. Difficult to sum up 6 weeks, especially when you've got a memory as foggy as mine. It's been a bit of a blast. It's been lovely. I've so enjoyed kind of meeting you all and having the comments you've been making, and I look forward to seeing your responses each day, especially those of you who comment, which is really lovely. I think it's most likely that I will do a podcast. I've kind of got the bug, and I do enjoy sharing my projects, which is mainly what it will be. So next week, I think Wednesday or Thursday, I think I might aim to make it podcast day. So all being well, that's what I will do. So you'll just have to put up with me once a week rather than 7 days a week. Oh my goodness. Can you believe that? Every day for more than 6 weeks. So I need to go off and cook tea now, of course, and I shall wish you all a very happy Easter weekend. May blessings and grace pour down upon you all. Keep safe, keep healthy, stay at home, enjoy what's around you, and thank you again for joining me on my little adventure, and hopefully I'll catch up with you all again next week.